Yeah, no problem. It was good to get a win on the road last week against New Mexico State, and being on the road 2 weeks in a row and being able to get 2 wins is really big for us. And now we get to come back home and got a really huge challenge for us this week. They're probably the best team in the conference, Appalachian State, and now a top 25 team. So really big challenge for us. We're looking forward to trying to get ready to have a great game.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach. Until this past weekend, your defense had played very, very well ever since the Clemson game. Was it something that just New Mexico State, just their scheme, their style, or did you have some defensive issues? And what do you need to clean up to play against a team that is a completely different type offense in Appalachian State?
Well, we got to do a better job of handling up-tempo offenses. I don't think we did a good job of that last week, and we had a couple injuries too that has not two guys that really didn't was not going to play at all, and so we had to have next man up and that stuff, and so obviously defense didn't perform like we're used to. I think that they definitely need to step it up this week, and we got to make sure that we respond.
How difficult is it to play against a team that is just radically different offensively than what you've faced the last couple of weeks?
It's a big challenge. This is a really tough football team that runs the ball well and very efficient in their pass game and just got playmakers all over the place. So this will be a big time challenge. On paper, I don't know if we got a chance, but hopefully our guys will really step up and play above their heads and give us a shot.
Does them getting in the poll sort of give you even a little more emphasis going into the Thursday game?
We don't pay too much attention to that. It's we have to make sure that we're continuing with our plan that has let us be successful, and that's just trying to be a blue collar, disciplined, tough football team. And I'm sure the guys are seeing it, but we're not going to make about it. It's again, we got to make sure that we're doing our best to try to win.
What's been the big difference in your guys over the last 4 games?
Compared to what?
Just what your guys have done that maybe going into the season you weren't sure that you would be able to do. Anything in particular that has been really successful for you?
Well, I think the big piece was early on trying to find what our identity was and what our strengths were. We had a good idea about what our weaknesses are, and we try to improve those. But once we kind of dialed into what our strengths were, we want to really, make sure that we don't ever let that drop off. And I think a lot of that has been on offense. We just we've had some good games statistically, and then we've had some games where we're not good. But the thing that we've done is we've protected the football, and we've tried to keep the ball away from the other team's offense, and in turn has helped our defense. And then on defense, going into a new scheme with the 3-4 was just trying to find where each person fits. And I think that after the first couple games, last four games, we've really kind of settled into who was playing what and who could help us at those positions. So I'd say that's the big difference for the last 4 games.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you, Dan. Our next questions come from Tim Smith. Tim, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach. You yourself actually spent some time at Appalachian. I know it's been a few years, but more recently, Scott Sloan, your defensive coordinator, just left App to join your program. What familiarity that Scott might have could help you on Thursday night?
Well, I think Scott just being a part of the Appalachian staff, which has been fairly consistent for many years now. Just kind of maybe having a feel for things. I don't know. I don't know if there's that big of an advantage. we're going to prepare like we normally do. And, once the plan's in place, it's, our players got to go out and execute it. So, but maybe familiarity would lend to it, and we can kind of go from there with it.
Just kind of a follow-up. Your days at App, Coach Satterfield was there at the same time. What's y'all's relationship and friendship like these days?
Scott and I are friends, and, it's hard in the coaching profession because once you move from, schools and you're not actually coaching with them anymore, you don't spend a whole lot of time of communicating, but I do consider Scott a friend. I mean, he was a huge influence on me as a young coach, and, did a lot for my family while I was up there also. And, so I got a lot of respect for him, and, I do consider us friends to this day.